Hello and welcome to today's conversation with one of our incredible speakers from the Women Thrive Summit. My name is Rwanda Jan and I am here today with Bronwyn Bergen. How are you, Bronwyn?
Fine, thank you. I'm so excited to be here.
Where are you joining us from today?
Well, physically, right now, I'm in the United States in Florida, sunny, warm Florida. So I'm excited. But actually, tomorrow, then I fly back up to New York City. So I'm a little all over the place, but this is home base right now.
Amazing. I love Florida. And I think in today's conversation, we're going to be transporting our international audience to different parts of the world. So,
Yes.
what I want you to do right now, if you're watching this live or on replay, in the chat, please let me know where you're watching this from. We want to be connected to you, and you're in for incredible conversation with my special guest today. Today we're talking about how to raise your kids without pulling your hair out. So if you're a parent, let me know in the chat. Do you have one, two, three, maybe a whole how many kids you have? Maybe a whole football team. And if you're pulling your hair out right now, I think you need to stick around for this conversation. If you're watching this on replay, also put hashtag replay. So I am super excited for my guest today. She is so incredible and inspirational, and she's done something that not many people have ever done. So she's a founder and president of Kids Life Coaches. My apologies there. Stars Kids Life Coaches. So she has incredible organization that supports children with life coaching, and we're here to delve in a little bit more in how we could support you today with raising your kids and having peace of mind without having to pull your hair out and providing your children with incredible life skills. Bronwyn, please take it away. Introduce yourself a little bit more. How did you come about with this incredible idea and the work that you're doing today?
Fantastic. Thank you. So, I've always loved children. I've had a passion for children. I was an educator for 30 years before even delving into kids' life coaching. And what really propelled me to think about this concept was I felt like when I was reflecting at the end of my day teaching, it's like I feel like a lot of these kids are coming into the classroom with anxiety, performance anxiety, lack of confidence. Perhaps they're being bullied and or something happened at home and then they would carry it through their school day and they didn't have those coping and resiliency skills to bounce back. And I felt like I was coaching them emotionally more
Mm,
than teaching. So I knew I was getting ready to retire. And what could I do? How can I help these kids? And not every child needs a therapist. They've been through a severe trauma. They needed to delve back into their past and try to figure out how to move forward. Some kids are that in between stage. They might be lacking those confidence skills.
mm,
They might be lacking that emotional intelligence. And I wanted to fill that void. I wanted to fill that gap. So, what's better than kids' life coaching? And I do give my husband a little bit of credit because he did help me think of the idea because, we saw a pivot in adults. Adults had therapists to help guide them. And
mm.
they're still, amazing therapists. But then there was a shift to a lot of adults receiving coaches in their life in specific niches and so forth. So we thought if there's adult coaches, why aren't there kids life coaches to help them navigate those choppy waters and make it a little smooth sailing for them? And so that's what really prompted me into this business. And
Mm.
that was the nuts and bolts and the idea behind it.
Yeah. And do you coach the parents or do you work mainly just with children?
So excellent question. We do both. Mainly, we work with children, but there are many times that parents are saying, how do I help my child? How do I create family
Mm,
dynamics, more of a healthy family dynamics? So that's why we're here. So when we work with our kids, we create goals revolving around a specific objective for that child, because we create tailor-made programs for every child. So parents say, how can we help? How can we? So they can help by making sure the child is supported and they follow through with their weekly goal. On top of, we're constantly, I'm writing news articles or, sharing ways that parents can always support their children at home. But we also do have that parental counsel side, because sometimes when our children may not be feeling happy or right, it throws off the shift. The family
Mm.
shift goes off a bit. And what we want to do is we want to bring it back and have everybody in sync.
Yeah. And what kind of things that families come to you with, or what kind of goals do they usually have for their children? So, if they engage you, what are their goals usually, or struggles?
So it really, it's all over the place. Sometimes parents reach out because their child is just experiencing that lack of confidence. Sometimes they reach out because they're noticing some kind of levels of anxiety in their life, whether it's sports related or in
Mm,
the classroom, academic wise. Sometimes their child has been bullied. Sometimes they reach out
mm,
because their child is the bully and they want help with that. Um, we work with children that are on the spectrum, ADHD.
mm,
But I also have another whole part of my business with they're very similar, but it's athletic mindset services for a youth athlete who also needs, to create that mental toughness, or have that growth mindset, or learn how to not have that fear of failure. So they're interwoven, but parents reach out also for that reason.
mm. I think as parents, we don't always have all the answers or the skills because, I meet people who are great healers or great coaches, but they're not necessarily great business people. And in the same way, you love your kids to death, but it doesn't mean you're fully equipped to support them in a way that they need. And
Right.
sometimes it could be very, very challenging. What would you say to parents who are perhaps struggling and looking for answers? Like, how do I do this? How do I navigate these waters? How do I support my children?
I always think honesty is the best policy. I
Mm,
felt like even with my own children, I have 4 children now, they're all adults. I always was very open and honest. And sometimes you reflect back and going, whoa, that was a pretty heavy conversation to be having with my child at that point in their lives. But I feel like that's okay. Like, they what happens is then they learn those coping and they learn those resiliency skills,
mm,
and
mm,
they learn from you. So if you have open communication and have clear dialogue, guess what, you're their best role model. They're also going to have that. And I always tell parents, it's okay to make mistakes, and you're going to make a lot of them along the way. But, learn from those mistakes and yet be consistent. Be consistent with your discipline, be consistent with communication, and just try to be there for your children, whether it's
mm.
good or bad. Good or bad.
Yeah, yeah. And I'm sure you've navigated some challenging situations with your own children or have seen some challenging situations. Take us a
Yes.
little bit behind the scenes. Tell us a little bit more.
Oh, you want me to spill the dirt? Hopefully they're not tuned in right now, because they're going to be like, so there's 4 of them. So, gee. Well, I always say, listen, every age brings a different set of challenges. When they're little,
Mhm.
you're, as a parent, you're up all night, you're exhausted, and so forth. They go through elementary school. There's finding their way. So so I'm trying to think. Well, in teens, of course. Well, okay, let me go back. One of them, let's say in elementary school, was experiencing somebody who wasn't very kind, sort of like the mean girl syndrome. And
Mm,
these girls decided that they would target, my youngest. And sadly, she had confided something, um, in one of them. And then that person decided to share it amongst everybody else,
Mm,
and it tore my daughter apart. Um,
mm,
and, as a parent, I was crushed. I mean, there is nothing worse than seeing your child in pain, in my opinion. There's
mm,
just nothing worse. And, she was broken. Um, so living through that this was prior to me starting my business, I'll never forget that. But I do remember, being there for her, holding her when she cried, um, building up her strengths when she was tearing herself down. I remember saying, okay, if she was being very negative and I was trying to turn that negative into a positive, um, we would talk about, um, what are all the beautiful things about her. And I made her say them, like
mm,
verbally say them. And that's a hard thing to do for anybody, really, right? Just to brag about yourself. But it's so important. That was like a first step, like reminding her she's spectacular besides this one little blip. And then that was
mm,
the next thing, is once we started to boost the mood and change negative into positive, I wanted to say, in the scheme of life, and it's very hard to see it at the time, this is a boop little blip, and things are going to get back to normal. Um, and that helped build her confidence enough to be able to face those mean girls again, to walk back into school,
mm.
keeping her head held high. And then, I was there for her when she'd come home from school, and still have those emotional moments, but we worked through it together. And I think that was extremely important.
Mm. And do you think having support that parents can reach out to, because it's not always they might be able to navigate difficult situations like that. They might not even be the best person to actually support their children. Do you think
Yes.
that's the point when someone would consider engaging a life coach to support a child or that the whole situation with this?
I actually think, yes and no. I think yes in that situation, because there are many times that parents reach out and they're sharing their feelings and concerns because they'll explain a situation and they gave fantastic advice, but
Mm.
the child isn't listening. The
Yeah.
child's like, "Ah, you're my parent, what do you know," kind of situation. And so that's when I get a lot of clients reaching out. But I also like to say, let's be proactive. What my coaches work on, and we build lifelong skills in children. And if
Mm,
we can build a child's confidence so that they feel so empowered in any situation. So that way, if there's a situation where somebody's bullying them or tempting them to do something that their brain is saying, don't do it, they're going to feel so good about it that they're going to say, nah, I'm not going to do it. Right. And walk away. And that's what we want. And if something does happen, do they have those coping and resiliency skills in place so that way they can bounce back and
mm,
not let it ruin their day, their month, their year, whatever it might be. So I think parents can reach out reactively, but I always say having children learn these skills at any moment, whether they're very young. We see clients as young as 8 up until 20. They everybody can still learn these skills, but if we can learn them at a younger age, and they'll be prepared and feel empowered through their life.
yeah. And that's the beauty when you give someone life skills. I think,
Hmm.
especially at a young age, with coping mechanisms, ability to deal with stress, ability to navigate bullying, just different things that come about. And I've seen, my own niece as well navigating the teenage years and the
Hmm.
chat, especially during the pandemic. There was a lot of anxiety that would creep in just about leaving home and building the relationships and things like that.
Yeah.
So I think when you give children a solid beginning and a ground base to start with, it just builds a successful future for them. I think particularly this next generation really needs that support. What's your vision for that next generation, like the role that your life coaches, so you have, it's not just yourself, you've got a number of life coaches, so when you guide your life coaches, what's the vision you give them? Like, how do you want to make a difference in this world?
Well, I feel that every coach that's under Stars Kids Life Coaches wants to make a difference. They're passionate about children. They want to help children. And we all have the same vision
Yeah.
that we would like to see and help as many kids as possible be armed with a toolbox of skills for the rest of their life. So, you know, the vision ultimately is how many we help? How many kids can we empower and build confidence in? You know, endless. I see this everywhere. I see every child benefiting from it. Who can't lack confidence? I mean, even as an adult, there are
Yes.
situations, I'd love to say that I'm walking into every single thing feeling amazingly confident, but there are a lot of times that I'm questioning or I'm doubting or I have that negative thought pop into my head and I have to remind myself. So, I would love for these kids to feel that now, and be armed, like I said, with that toolbox so they can just be like in certain situations say, I know what to do in this. I know how to help myself. And we teach self-awareness, which is so, so important. And how many times have we heard adults say self-care? I need self-care. Well, guess what? So do kids.
Yeah.
And even though adults are taking care of them, they need to learn that themselves. So that's another thing that we teach them, self-awareness and self-care.
Beautiful, beautiful. It's just, I love your approach and the ethos of it and longevity. Once it's like, once you plant those seeds, once you sow those seeds into these beautiful young minds and equip them with a toolbox, it's like giving them a toolbox, and here you are. You can go off around about your life knowing that you have the confidence, you have the social skills, you know how to deal with stress or anything else.
Mhm,
It's because
mhm.
you've been through those steps. And I believe that kids, particularly, they like sponges, right? So it's
Oh,
easier to direct them, support them, guide them, and give them tools. And like you said, kids not always going to listen to your parents because to them it's like, oh my God, it's like you're at it again. And you just like,
yes.
kids don't always listen to their parents because
Right,
it's
right.
just how it is
Totally.
these days.
Yeah, and it's just teaching them that, that social emotional intelligence piece and how
Mm,
vital it is for everybody to be aware of that. And we also teach them things like problem solving skills or goal
mm,
setting. Like, how important is it um, for as adults, we're setting goals for ourselves, whether they're short term, daily, weekly, monthly. We also teach children that and imagine what their world will be like and how that can carry over even into their academics, their social part of their life, but their academic part by being able to problem solve and create goals for themselves. It's
mm.
it's hugely it's hugely important. And kids don't naturally know how to do that. And they might be able to say, oh, I'm gonna work on this goal, but do they know how to attain it? Is it an attainable, measurable goal? And
Yeah.
that's, another aspect of what we work on them with, which is
Yeah.
very important.
Amazing. So, Bronwyn, you are one of our VIP speakers at the Women Thrive Summit, and your talk, it will be titled is How to Raise Kids Without Pulling Your Hair Out. I love this idea of the talk that you came up with, and everybody in the speaker circle, like, yes, that's the one.
Yes.
Um, why should people who should attend this? Why they should attend this talk to really tap into your knowledge and resources?
Yes. Well, I like to say that if you're a parent, you're my target audience, right? Whether your child is very young or in their teens or even early 20s, like you're still guiding your child. I hate to say it, like I said, my children are in their 20s. Who do they come to first for advice? you know us as parents. So I feel like, parents are the target audience, but other people can benefit from this. I'm talking about, you might not be a parent, but you could be, involved, or a teacher, someone working with children who
Yeah.
might just, anybody, a social worker. Because what I'm going to talk about is these key elements that can create and propel our children to feel that empowerment, but also as a parent to create healthy family dynamics. And I'm going to
Mm.
talk about what healthy discipline looks like. There's always that fine line. I'm going to talk about communication with your children. And I talked about that earlier, having being
Mm.
open and honest. But
Yeah.
let's take that to another level too. I go out to restaurants all the time and I see families sitting around out for a dinner, but their children are completely detached because they're on technology.
Yeah.
That allows parents to chat, but doesn't create a healthy environment for family. And
Yeah.
that's what I want to do. And I'm not saying that you can't do that. I'd love to talk about having a mix, a
Mm.
balance, a very, very healthy balance. And then lastly, I'm going to be talking about the social emotional intelligence of kids and how to foster that and grow that. So that way, parents feel armed also with a toolbox of strategies and skills that they can come out of my talk with, bring home, and create this family dynamics that we all thrive for.
Yeah. How rewarding. I just want to say how
Mhm.
rewarding is your work. I'm so thrilled to have you on our stage, Bronwyn, because
Thank you.
we have not had enough people to talk about the support for parents and children, and you really stand out for me this year for our summit, to bring this voice and your expertise. And I was saying, like, how rewarding is this journey for you right now doing this?
Amazing. I mean, I'm so honored to be one of the speakers amongst amazing, accomplished entrepreneur and women. But I am so thrilled to be able to speak at a platform like this
Mm.
and bring kids' life coaching to the forefront,
Yeah.
talk about the validity of what we do and how we can help every child. Again, proactively or reactively, we're here. And, people can go on our website and, be able to learn more about what we do, meet our coaches, read our phenomenal testimonials, check out articles that have been published about us. And then we offer a free meet and greet. It's free, it can't hurt. So people
Mm.
can sign up and we can, set you up with a coach and learn more about your child. And then we get to do this meet and greet with a kid and get things from their perspective, which is so powerful. So,
Amazing.
reach out, learn more about it. And this platform, I just want to thank you so much for having me.
Oh, Bronwyn, it's been an absolute pleasure to have you on the stage and prepare for the summit. So what some of you watching this right now, what you may not know, we've been preparing for the summit since the summer. It's been more
Mhm.
than 6 months in the making. Our amazing speakers have got their incredible talks planned for the Women Thrive Summit. And if you're perhaps new to this platform, Women Thrive Summit is our annual women empowerment event that happens every third week of March. So this year it falls between 18th to the 22nd. Reserve that week to attend our live summit. And it is live, it's virtual, which means you can join it from anywhere in the world, but it's
Yes.
live, which means you can get to engage with our speakers, ask questions, be part of it, connect with other people. And we have speakers on all various topics from personal development, leadership, growth, business success, confidence building, self care, relationships, and of course, life coaching for kids that Bronwyn is talking about today. So head over to Women Thrive Summit, register for your free spot right now. And if you care to have a front row seat virtually, but that comes with a whole lot of amazing benefits that our speakers have prepared for you. Grab yourself a paid ticket, and you also get access to all the past summit replays, which is incredible value. Bronwyn, how can people connect with you? What's the best way to say, hey, I really am interested in finding out more?
Absolutely. I would say my website, which is Stars Kids Life Coaches, ES.com. And my contact information is there. You can scroll down. That's how you contact me via email, phone number, and also that meet and greet form so we can learn
Mm,
about your child. Best ways to
amazing.
contact me and learn more.
So the website you need right now is starskidzlifecoaches.com. Make sure you check out this website. Make sure you connect with Bronwyn. If you have enjoyed this live, share it to your own social media followers because you never know who might be needing this conversation right now. And connect with her. Drop her a DM. Let her know that you watched this. She is incredible lady. And if you do need that coaching support for your kids, get in touch with her. Just let her know what are your struggles right now, and she will connect you with one of her incredible coaches for kids. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you really enjoyed this conversation. Stay tuned as we have weeks coming up to the summit. We have an amazing lineup of speakers that we will be interviewing so you can get to know them a little bit more. And of course, join us in March for our annual Women Empowerment event, the Women Thrive Summit. My name is Ramona Jad. It's been a pleasure, Bronwyn. Thank you for being here. Thank you for
My
everything you do.
pleasure.
Thanks for your beautiful heart. And we look forward to seeing you at the summit.
Thank you.
Thanks.